YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Wayman Mike and we're back for another video. Stay tuned. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to cut your own hair. First, I want to give a disclaimer. You are not a professional barber, at least most of you aren't. With that being said, your hair is not going to look as professional as if a professional barber did it. These are people who cut hair like 20 times a day, and you're only going to be cutting hair like once every 2 weeks. So a barber is going to have more experience and more practice than you. So their cuts are going to turn out better than what you can do to yourself. So just keep that in mind. If you mess up, fine, because you're going to learn from those mess ups. But without further ado, I'm going to ask you guys to go press that like button and then I'm going to start this video. So press that like button so I can start this video. Okay, cool. Okay, so first up, I'm going to start listing the things that you will need. First off, you're going to need a comb, and this is going to be to comb your hair out. It can be a wire tooth comb or one of those skinnier combs. Then you're going to need a brush, preferably not a brush that you want to get a whole bunch of hair in, because that is exactly what's going to happen. A whole bunch of hair is going to get stuck in your brush. Then you're going to need a pair of clippers and trimmers. The ones I have are the Andis T Outliner and the Oster Fast Feed. Both of these are professional level clippers, and you can get them for around $60, and I recommend it highly. But if you are on a budget, then you can always go to Walmart or something and get some of the cheaper ones. Okay, so to go along with the clippers, you're going to need guards, and what this does is adjusts the height and length that your hair will be when you cut over it. So the higher the guard, the higher your hair. Next up is a very important one. It is a handheld mirror, so you can make sure you can see what you're doing in the back of your head. Next, you're going to need some alcohol just in case you cut yourself, and you can sterilize everything. Okay, so those are the materials you'll need. So now let's get into the step-by-step instructions. First, you want to start off by combing your hair. What this does is picks your hair off of your scalp so that it is easier to get through by your clippers. Because if your hair is just laid down completely flat on your head, it's going to be really hard for your clippers to get a real hold on your hair, and it might actually snag and make like a patch in your head, and you don't want to be Patchy the Pirate. So make sure that you comb your hair up so that it isn't stuck down to your head. Okay, so you remember those clippers we were talking about earlier? Now's the time to use them. So the one I'm using is a 2. I'm going to put it on my clipper, and then I'm going to close the clipper. Here's a quick explanation of what it means for the clipper to have the lever open and closed. So when the lever is in this back position like this, it's open. When it's in the forward position like this, it's closed. The open position is higher than the closed position. Now let's explain with the grain versus against the grain. Basically, when you cut with the direction of your hair, this is with the grain. When you cut against the direction of your hair, this is against the grain. Against the grain cuts come out much lower than with the grain cuts. So if you start doing it one way, make sure you continue doing it that way until the haircut is over, because if you don't, you will have patches in your hair. Each time you do your haircut, you want to make sure you locate this area in your head. It's called the crown. It'll be a place where your hair seems to start. So what you want to do is find that crown and cut outward from that crown area to the edge of your hair on each side, like this. No matter what side, you always want to start from that crown area. If you were to do against the grain, it's just the opposite. You start from the hairline on each side and you move towards the crown rather than away from the crown. Okay, so now let's get the haircut started. I'm going to be using the 2 guard, and I'm going to have my lever closed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the grain. So these are all things we've already talked about. We've talked about guards. We've talked about the lever being open and closed, and we talked about with the grain versus against the grain. I'm using a 2 guard with the grain with the lever closed. On your hair, you might use a different guard depending on how high or low you want your hair to be. So you may use a 1 guard, you may use a 3 guard, a 4 guard. It's up to you and how long your hair will be after the haircut, or how long it is before the haircut. So I'm just going ahead and following the pattern of my hair on each side. I'll stop talking so you can just watch. Actually, before I go, I want to make sure I show you the difference from one side to the other. So this is the side I cut, and this is the side I didn't cut. So you can see a huge difference in what I've just done in just such a short amount of time. So just keep that in mind. And ever so often, you want to make sure to comb your hair out just so you can pick it back up to make sure that you've gotten everything off of your scalp and it's not still laid down. This next step is quite a bit more difficult than the last. That's because in this step, I'm going to be teaching you how to taper the sides and back of your hair. And that requires at least a basic knowledge of how to fade. But I'm going to do the best I can to explain it to you. And if you still don't understand it after I explain it, there are hundreds of other videos teaching you how to do it. So I think that you should be fine. Okay, so now you're going to need to use more guards. The ones that I use are the 0 guard, the 1 guard, and the 2 guard. And you'll also need to be able to use your clippers without any guards, because that is as low as you're going to get without using, the trimmers. So basically what I do first is I make a first guideline as a bald guideline from that spot to that spot. So from right here, and it's going to go all the way up till here. You see that? All the way up to here. And right now on the clipper, I have no guard and I have the lever closed all the way. And you can pull the skin to make sure you can get it as close as possible. Then comb your hair down so you can really see what you've done, and you can expose that line again. Then what you want to do is open the lever on the clipper and then go just above the line that you just created. So here's me showing you that the lever is open all the way, and you can switch between the closed and open position to get it closer or to get it higher. And you can notch in between open and the closed to get like a medium type effect, you know, not all the way down but not all the way up. And every so often you want to make sure that you're combing your hair down so you can really get the idea of what you're doing. You can see exactly what you're doing. After you finish with no guard, you want to go ahead and add the zero guard, which is, from my understanding, the next guard up from having no guard at all. And what you're going to do is have the lever open and go about a centimeter or ½ inch above that line that you just created. You're not really going to see what you're doing if your hair is too long because it's going to overlap. So that's why you comb, so that you can actually see what's going on. If you don't want to comb, you can brush. From my experience, they work just as good. Unless your hair is really, really low, then the brush definitely works a lot better than the comb. As you can see, I switched over to using that brush now. So you can really see there is a section where the hair is bald, and then there's a section where the hair is really, really short, which is what I'm doing right now. And the clipper has the lever open right now, so it's creating a line right there. So what I'm going to do, you see that line? What I'm going to do is close the clipper's lever so that I can work on getting that line to fade into the section below it. Your first few times doing this, you may mess up, and that's okay because this is actually pretty difficult. Even some professional barbers can't get all of the lines out completely perfectly. So don't stress about it, because at the end of the day, you're just doing this for yourself. And if you mess up, hey, you can just throw a hat on. That's what I did. The first few times I cut my hair, I just threw a hat on. It didn't really matter to me all that much. And to you, it shouldn't either, unless you got something important to do or something. But you can see I'm working on getting that line out, and I'm trying to perfect it. I'm not going to get it exactly perfect because I'm not a barber, and because I have a camera in my face, so I can't really see the so I can't really see the mirror. Can't really see exactly what I'm doing. But once I work out that line, then I'll go ahead and grab the next guard up, which is the one guard. So by now you should be able to see a pattern. Each time you start with a new guard, you want to have the lever open, go up about a ½ inch, and then you gradually go underneath that, closing the closing the lever ever so slightly so that it fades into the section that you just made below it. So I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. You can either close the lever all the way, or you can open it all the way, and you can have it in between all the way open or all the way closed. You know what I'm saying? It can be in the middle, and that's how you blend your hair. And now I'm doing that same process with the two guard. Clipper all the way open, and as I go down, I work the clipper more towards the closed position so it fades into the section that I did with the one guard. Now I'm just going to show you the difference between what it looks like when you have one side tapered, which is this side, and you can see it fades in very nicely, and then what it looks like if you weren't to do that at all. So the taper definitely brings the haircut to life, and it makes it look a lot better. So you could do this haircut without doing a taper at all, but in my opinion, it looks much better if you go ahead and just taper it. You know what I mean? Since you already saw me do one side, I can go ahead and do the other side off camera just so I can concentrate more And you already know what I'm going to do because it's the same steps as the first side. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the back, which is actually the same steps as the sides, but I'm going to do it on camera just because, you know, it looks different. So I'm going to do it on camera just for you guys. So before you do that, you want to make sure you brush or comb your hair down so that the hair isn't sticking up and isn't hard to cut. So it's the same guidelines for the back. First, you want to start off with the clipper all the way closed with no guard on it at all. And you want to make a straight line. Some people like to make arches, but I like to do straight lines. After that line is as straight as you can get it, you want to make sure to close the clipper lever and just go just above that line so it can create like a fade in effect. I usually don't blend this section. I usually just, you know, go ahead and go straight from the closed position to the open position. But for some people's hair, you may actually need to blend that. But on my hair, it actually doesn't show if I don't blend it or if I do blend it. So it doesn't matter to me. But if you do need to, then it's just the same steps as the sides. So you can just follow those same steps anyway. Next, take your zero guard, put it on your clipper, and have the lever open. And what you're going to do is go up about a ½ inch above the line that you just made. And this is where you're really going to see the contrast in the height of what you had before and what you have now. So you can really see this is going to need to be blended out. Right now, the clipper is all the way open, but you're going to eventually close the clipper to get rid of that line. So it's not like a harsh line, it's going to be faded in. And the easiest way to explain it is more like blurry. You can't see the lines. The lines are very blurred and faded. Now you want to brush your hair down so you can get rid of those hairs that you've already cut, and you can really see what's actually there and what's been cut. And then you want to close the lever and just go below where you cut so that you can get rid of any lines that are there. So I just went directly below what I already cut, and it looks like this. And now the same thing that I did with the zero guard, I'm going to do with the one guard. Start with the lever open, make a guideline, which is like a ½ inch above the last. And then I'm going to gently close the lever to fade into the section below it. Okay, so after I finish this fade or blend with the one guard, I'm just going to go ahead and do the two guard off camera. It's literally the exact same step, so I'm not skipping a step. I'm just skipping showing you a certain guard. And this is what it looks like afterwards. Next, you want to grab your trimmers or outliners, whatever you want to call them. And this is the section where you outline your hair. You want to make sure that you brush down all those edges before you start cutting anything. And in that front section, you might want to even cut down the hairline to a lower guard than what the rest of your hair is, just so you don't have anything hanging over. When I do this, I always use the one guard just because it doesn't have too much of a transition from what I did on top of my head. So when it comes to the hairline, I figured it's better that I show you afterward rather than during the actual haircut, so you can get better camera angles and a better explanation. So what you want to do is, first, before you do anything, you see these side areas, you want to do that area first. So this is already straight, so it's going to be pretty hard to not get this straight. Just have this going directly down. If you think that you might mess up this area, you can get something like this, a straight edge, maybe even a ruler, and you can just put it on your hairline so that you know that you're not going to go past this line that's right here. And what you would do is cut everything that's in front of that line. How I like to do mine is to line it up with this part of my eyebrow, where it comes down to where the edge of my iris and my eye is. But some people like to cut theirs lined up right here. It's all depending on personal preference. And whatever I did on this side, of course I'm gonna do on this side. So I'll line it up with that same section with my eyebrow. And if you really look hard, it kind of lines up with this section of your lip in like a V. So it kind of, you know, goes straight into that and straight into that. Once you've done these two sections, you can start in this middle section, get where you need this to be, and then work outward from the middle on each side. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is start from the sides and work your way to the middle, and then start from the other side and work your way to the middle. But what you don't want to do is start from one side and work your way all the way over, or vice versa, this side and work your way all the way over, because you'll end up with a very slanted hairline. My hairline is naturally slanted, and I think that's something that people need to come to realize. Your hairline might not be perfectly even. I wouldn't over exaggerate your hairline to make it perfectly straight. Just make it as natural as possible. So if your hairline is naturally slanted, if you're making your hairline, sometimes you just got to make it slanted, because if you were to make it perfectly straight, it may look pushed back. So I know that this side is naturally higher than this side, so I wouldn't just go ahead and push this side back. Even though it would make it even with this side, at the end of the day, it's going to make it look more pushed back. And the same thing goes for this section back here. You just want to make the line as natural as possible. Don't push it back and don't go too extreme. Just follow the natural flow of where you think the hairline should be. You're not a professional. It's not going to end up perfect. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the end of this haircut tutorial. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully after this you're able to cut your own hair. If you have any questions, go drop them down below. And if you don't have any questions, still go leave a comment. Say thank you for the tutorial. I don't know, just say anything. You could literally type anything, the word anything. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Waveman Mike. Subscribe, comment, and like. Enjoy your day.